when you feel that you're losing or you're not getting the grip or you just don't understand anymore, you got to take a minute to look at what you're doing and to stop.
What is up? Welcome back. Together we are stronger, leadership straight, no chasers. And when we think about ideas and situations that could be viewed to be on the same coin, opposite sides, it's an interesting thing when you actually think about the idea of success and failure. And if you really did a deep dive on it, it is just the opposite side of the same coin. It just depends on your perspective. And I shared this on Saturday that if you take action, you might achieve success. If you take action, you might achieve failure. But ultimately, when it comes to this, you can ask anybody what failure is and you're going to get like 10,000 different answers. But when I really think about the idea of failure, it's really an opportunity for lessons to extract from, to learn from growth. And it's the opportunity to ask, what can I learn from this situation going forward? Because if you ask yourself that, I think your chances of looking at it's going to be a little bit different. Perspective is going to play a little bit different. And you're going to be more willing to actually take action instead of say, I don't know, because if failure happens, I'm going to look like a joker to everybody else. So, George, when you think about just that idea of success and failure being on the same coin, but just opposite sides, what comes to mind when you think and hear that?
Oh, good evening, everyone. But what I would say, it is a lot of people fear failure. And one thing I have learned that when you have failure, you're learning something, because without failure, you're not going to have success. And people look at certain things and say, I'm kind of scared, Scott, to get out there, to venture on out there. And dang, what happens if I fail? What happens if you don't try it? People do all kinds of crazy stuff, right? And there's ones that stick to it and they win. But there's also the ones that stick to it and be like, man, I'm hitting dead ends and trying to figure out, what do I need to do to correct what look, you got to look back. So for me, when you flip the coin, it's the same thing, because I can win or wow, I can lose. But as I tell everybody, the one thing you have to do when you feel that you're losing or you're not getting the grip or you just don't understand anymore, you got to take a minute to look at what you're doing and to stop. And I said, okay, it's not working this way. What do I need to do to make it work the way I want it to? Or you have to go back to your tribe and say, okay, I've been working it this way and it is not clicking. So what do? You got to go back and talk to people who are having success and tell them exactly what you're doing and how you can overcome that. Sometimes, Scott, it's not the project. Sometimes it's looking in the mirror, right? Sometimes it's looking between the ears and say, hey, I need to do something different. I really do. I need to create something better. I need to listen to my tribe, listen to the people who care about me, who want to see success. But also on the flip side, when you're not having success, you got to look at it. Again, it's like a two-sided coin in a sense, and it's the same thing. And you just have to stop, take a breather, and look. If you have something that is, you can feel it, that you're almost there, you never quit, no matter how much you're hitting dead ends, right? Because average people, I'm going to say it, average people walk away. They will. They get frustrated. They just, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not winning at it. and they're one click away from winning to see some positive action. And a lot of times people lose out on that. And then they get down. Next, we have a friend that's getting involved into some, "Oh, I lost and I've done this." You need to stop that.
Yeah.
First of all, you don't give that type of vibe or advice to someone who's excited about doing something. Just because you quit and you had failure and you didn't learn from it, don't give it to someone else. And I truly believe you have to. You just got to keep moving forward. But really, you got to ask your tribe. Scott,
Mm.
it's something that you and I talk about all the time, but it comes to that full circle we've been talking about throughout our podcast. It's that wheel base, all the different spokes throughout the wheel. It's all different things that we're talking about. Is coming back to your tribe and
Mm.
talking to somebody that is successful, that will sit down and talk to you like a coach, someone that you truly trust.
It's an interesting thing because you can take action
Mhm.
and end up arriving at both locations, but it won't happen at the same time because success and failure are two opposite ends of the spectrum. But the fact really is your perspective. Because if you are hesitant, I heard somebody, Peter Voog, shared this that 1% doubt and you're out, which is a very, very strong piece. Because if you think about it, a lot of times we're not 100% sure. And so not being 100% sure means there's a percentage or two or three that you're missing from the equation. And that quote really can do some soul searching for you. Because if you really think about it and you're like, man, 1% is such a small thing. And if I have 1% doubt, I'm out. But I think when you really think about that, though, is if you don't fully go for it and you have that doubt, you're giving yourself an escape vessel to say,
Yeah.
oh, well, this is why it really didn't work out. And so you're already setting yourself up for failure
Oh, yes.
because you have this thought that, oh, yeah, I'll try, but it's not trying. It's either you go for it and understand that failure is part of the process, or have that 1% doubt and never get to the land of success and always have that regret and doubt that, man, this really sucks. If I would have taken the time to actually go for it and
Yeah.
not listen to Joe Schmo down the streets, where would I be at? Like, what would be the difference here? Or what would be that lesson that I can take and bring forward and share with others, and then also implement to use that knowledge as I go about and do it again? Because, like, for myself, I've shared this is my third go around with the world of podcasting, and it is a very interesting thing because I look back and I really didn't have a plan. And the first time I had the podcast coming about, I actually, the day before, I had this thought of who's going to listen to this. And it's a very interesting thing about just that doubt
Yes.
and how I think that played into just not really turning out the way we wanted it to.
Mhm.
But I'm grateful that it happened because now with this iteration, with Together We Are Stronger, the vision and the conversations that we have are a lot larger and drive a lot of the actions that we're doing, because we're just not doing this just because we want to create content. We're out here because of what we see, and it's necessary because we have too many people that talk about leadership, but it's too fluffy. And you actually do a lot more damage to individuals because of the fluffiness and not getting down to the truth and the realness, and being understanding that, hey, some people may get upset about this, but that has to take place.
Well, I mean, you bring up a great point, and one thing I will add to it: hesitation.
Hmm.
Hesitation is everything. And I mean, I hate to say it, but ask a squirrel. Hesitation, honestly, you're going to get hit by a car if you hesitate. And as humans, we hesitate. We don't believe in ourselves. And what you said about that 1%, you got 1% in you that it's going to fail. And guess what? It's going to go that way. You have to truly believe that you're doing the right thing and you feel it. You have passion about it. You have drive. You have people around you that believe in you and lift you up. Man, I'm just telling you, a lot of times people have hesitation, and that hesitation is a negative input in your business, in your life. Listen, Scott, you know that I have failed several times in businesses, and it's not, a lot of them were partnerships or people not doing the right thing. But the one thing I learned is I didn't hesitate to move forward. The risk was because without the risk, where's the big reward, right? Sometimes you take the risk, you get no reward. Sometimes you take the risk and the reward is huge. And I am that individual. Unfortunately, I took a lot of risks and lost a lot of money. But what I have learned from it is that I will always move forward. And anything I try to do to make it happen, work on and make things happen. And sometimes it just doesn't work out the way you want it. But also, you have to look back in a positive way. How could I have done it better? Right? You can't have a skeptical mind and being broke at the same time, because guess what? You're going to be complacent. Now, how many people, Scott, hate their job but don't do anything about it? They don't do anything. Yeah, right? Quite a few. They just get complacent. And these conversations that we are having just between us and our viewers is the God honest truth. People always come, I want to change, George. What are you doing to make yourself better?
Yep.
Do you have a plan? What's that deal I did at work? I talked to 5 guys. I talked to them. Some of them had great ideas. I say, I give you 1 week, come back with a piece of paper, tell me what your plan is and how you would do it. Those 5 people came up to me and handed me this. Too scared to write it down. Too scared because they think someone's going to laugh about it. Too scared for failure. So you're going to crawl up in a freaking corner, have this wonderful idea. Your family's behind you, and there's people around you in your tribe, even if it's one person, and you crawl up in the corner and you're like, I can't do it. Well, guess what? Don't do it. Because if you start, you're going to fail, because in the back of your mind, right, well, not really in front of your mind, oh man, what happens if I fail? I shouldn't have done this. I should have done something else. I should have took that job. And people have no idea until it's too late.
I think it's interesting because you held up that sheet of paper, and the issue that when I think about it is our school system. And think about, you have a test, here you go, and you have that big red F on it saying you failed. And so I think the issue you come across is you're like, hey, take this paper and fill this out. And then we have this idea that that's associated with failure. But it is a very interesting thing how people are like, oh, I want something different. I want something different.
Yes.
But they don't go and try. And so it's the same with businesses. Like businesses are like, I need to grow. I need to do something different. But they go back to the old way. And that's just the comfort zone. They're used to it. It feels comfortable. And because they haven't had big failures in the comfort zone, they're like, okay, this is cool. I'll stay this way. But it's very interesting how business owners like, hey, I understand the need for video. I understand the need for video content. And they're like, I need to do this, I need to do this, but then you don't see them do it. And it's such a interesting piece with that medium, with the content, the video, and the fact that people quickly start judging themselves
Yes.
because of whatever is holding them back. That's on them. But you have to understand, psychologically, the human mind looks for a face. And so the quickest way to have that connection to start building trust is
Yes.
video, because
Yeah.
your face is right smack dab in the middle of it. But
Mhm.
we've talked about being a student. People don't take the time to do the necessary studying of different things to
Mhm.
understand the power of whatever it is. And so, like, I always highlight, a lot of this stuff correlates and starts coming together, and you like, oh my goodness, like, there's what I'm missing, is because I haven't explored this, or the way I look at something has been construed in the wrong light
Mhm.
because somebody else told me it was this way. And you're probably listening to somebody that's scared and isn't doing it because they have their own fears, and they don't want to see you get hurt, so they're going to play on the cautious side, but have the failures run rampant and hold you back. So it is very interesting when you start looking at things, the conversations that we have, how they build out a big puzzle, a bigger picture here. But at the end of the day, as you're listening, you've got to find those pieces that are going to help you fill those gaps of the puzzle that you're building. Because we talked about it, everybody's journey is different, and
Yes.
what works for one of us may not work for you,
Mhm.
but the perspective, the sharing of the idea may be that piece that you're actually missing that's going to fill that void, that helps you move forward to get to the next step, the next door, whatever that may be for you as an individual. So I laugh because as we start having these conversations and I'm just sitting here, how you start seeing things build together. And then ultimately, at the end of the day, we take this and it's conversations that we're having on the back end, even for ourselves, from having these conversations. And that's the power. And when we look at it, the need for why this podcast came to life and why we're doing what we're doing, anyways.
Well, to add what you're talking about is a lot of people love to be comfortable. That uncomfortable is just not their plan. And
Hmm.
when I asked those 5 individuals to share with me, just put something on paper. You could talk a great game, but if you don't put it on paper and you don't see it every day, you don't post it in your kitchen, you don't post it in your bathroom, you don't post it when you walk in the house. What do you want to do? What gives you the capability? God gives us all the capability to be great in what we do, be creative and have opinions and be smart about stuff. And sometimes you make mistakes, but it's okay. But it's that comfort zone people can't get out of. What's funny today, I talked to a young man, he's 20 years, he just turned 21. He's like, George, give him my 2 weeks notice. I say, hey, what are you going to be doing? I don't know yet. What do you think? I say, you know what? First of all, I'm going to applaud you. Really? I'm excited for you. Why? Because you're taking a step into an uncomfortable zone that you never had before, and you're young, right? He said, yes. And I said, I applaud you. Wow. You're the first person that's excited for me out of where we work. First person. You always do that. I'm always excited when someone is going to do something for themselves,
Hmm.
regardless what it is, and he has no idea yet, but that's someone taking a step. See, it's the comfort zone. It's, oh my God, I don't think I can make it. All these different things. Guys, if you want to win, you need to take a step forward, not a step back. And that's how you overcome. Hey, listen, if you fail, it's okay. It's all right to fail because you're learning from your failures. So when you kick it back up again, you can really move forward and making things happen. If you got any doubt, you don't like to be uncomfortable, don't do anything.
Mm.
Just, I mean, seriously, it's for the people who want more than life than just clock it in and clock it out. If you want to be the best salesman for a company, then go after it. But take the chance to get it done. That uncomfortable zone is the place to be.
Mm.
It's like going on a blind date, or you're going out with a girl that you always wanted to go out with, and this, that, my God, what happens? You get a little uncomfortable. You're not Ricky Suave. I mean, come on. People get uncomfortable until you understand what your surroundings, what's going on. You got to step out. I'm
Mm.
just, I mean, I taught my children the same way. If you want something, you got to go after and get it. It's not going to be handed to you. You got to go get it.
I think one big thing is understanding the need for growth and that uncomfortable level. The getting comfortable with the uncomfortable is necessary,
Yes.
because if you don't grow, nothing happens. And when you look at everything around us, that is a beautiful thing. It takes growth, it takes the struggle. And so it's just part of that aspect, because you'll hear a lot of people that talk in regards to success that's achieved after failure being a
Yes.
huge, beautiful thing, because it's valued more than just the wins. And so that's where it's understanding, embrace the failures and welcome them, because that when you
Yeah.
talk to individuals, that's your biggest growth opportunities. The wins are nice, but how much can you take out of the wins compared to that of the failures and the learning opportunities that are there? But it goes back to how you see the perspective that you hold and embracing the uncomfortable. And really it's a big change in perspective. And do you want to go through that process of changing how you see things? Because that may have you have to give up values and beliefs that aren't yours, that you've borrowed for so long from somebody else. And you have that fear factor of, oh, now am I going to get kicked out of that other tribe because I don't fit in? And the crazy thing is, a lot of people are fearful of things that aren't recognized, that is not a normal piece. Anything that stands out really is at the crux of potentially getting destroyed, and you're not allowed here because it's different. And
Yes.
it's scary because it's different.
Yes.
So it really is a change of perspective. But if you don't want to change your perspective and have to question the beliefs and the thoughts that you have, then it's not going to take place for you. And you're going to constantly be upset, wondering why is whatever happening. And I don't like it, because when I think of failure is a bad thing. And I don't like that.
No. Well, I mean, no one likes failure, right? Everyone wants to be the successful, the wins, everything else. But the main thing is when you are sitting down and you're sitting with somebody, we talk about sharing your knowledge, and other episode that we did. And that's one thing I think it really creates. I mean, you can, man, personal development, reading other podcasts, there's others, all kinds of information you get. But when you can sit down with someone, an individual, and say, you know what, this is what I had to do. This is what I went through. I lost, but I kept going. Sometimes you just need a little direction. You need that little twist to make it work. A lot of times people don't want to make that twist because they're afraid of the bigger failure. Well, I'm gonna put more money in. I'm gonna put more time in and all this. And take a look at individuals around you, because why does people go to movies, Scott?
They enjoy the entertainment and they want to get away from reality.
Exactly. A lot of people go to movies and put themselves in that film to bring happiness, excitement, joy, right? It depends what movie you go see, but it pulls them away from everything around your world. And that's one of the reasons why people go to movies. It's great to see new movies, the whole works. But they did a study on that because there's so much stress, the failures and things, like people go to movies to draw them out those 2 hours, the hour and a half, and they feel like normal. And then the real world hits. It's crazy. It's a true statement. It's like going to work and you ask the five guys, when you asked them, to this day, they avoid me. They avoid me at all costs because, like, still waiting. And it's been months, but it's because they're afraid to take that step. They're afraid it's going to be stupid, or it's a silly idea, or whatever it is. It's not. Remember the old saying in school, no one has a stupid question, because that little simple question you might think is stupid can answer your whole world. And a lot of people miss that opportunity, miss the opportunity for growth, not just financially, but personally, the growth. Because you got people watching your example of your children, your wife, your family, your close friends, and no one wants to see you fail. But sometimes it's inside between your ears. And this is one thing that I love about our podcast, because everything that we talk about is in the 300, it's 360 degrees. Everything pulls together, but we break it down so people understand you're not alone. You're not alone. Stop being comfortable. Damn, it's just stop being comfortable. Make the moves, take the risk. And what I mean by risk, you're not throwing several thousands of dollars on black at Vegas. Take the risk. Bet on yourself. And that's one thing I have learned just recently. I want to have more control of my life than give to someone else. I've been an entrepreneur. I believed in a lot of different things, and I failed at it because I had trust in individuals. Now, everything that we do is because we have control of what we're doing. And those are the things you want. You want to have control. There's so many opportunities out there, but you have to take it. If you want to open a car wash, freaking go do it. Study, right? Get information. Our phones is a computer and just happens to be a cell phone connected to it. You have everything access to your hands. So what? There's 3 car washes. Be the 4th one, but be better and create something that's different. Stop being afraid because, oh my God, they're going to take me out of business. How about why they be afraid? Because you might buy them. Next, you own them all. It's just a different mindset, and people just need to step out step out the comfort zone and be uncomfortable about it and surround yourself.
Yeah. So as this is closing out, the biggest thing I would offer as a listener is really ask yourself, what side of the coin are you constantly playing on? And then if it is a change in perspective, what is it that's really driving that factor? And I'm going to say the high percentage probably is on the failure side. And it's just how we've been driven, how we've grown up in society. And it goes back to the fact of, if you got kicked out of the tribe in caveman days, you were probably going to die. And so you needed that protection. But in our society, today's day and age, failure is not a bad thing. Failure meant you went and tried, you learn, there's lessons, and then you can come and be a better person than where you were at when you started. But if you have this idea that failure is bad, ask yourself why you think that. And then if things aren't working out like you would want it to work out, look and see what side of the coin you're playing on. So it's something that really you got to take the time, and you got to want it. If you don't, then you'll continue to stay where you're at. But like we talked about, together we are stronger, and that's where we come in with a different perspective, share our perspective, our experiences, and hopefully that gives you just the one nugget. I would say, as you're listening to these episodes, just take the time to find one nugget that you can implement and grow and grow. And then once it's up there and it's where you need it to, come back and find another nugget, unless you have everything that you need to. But the interesting thing is, leaders, when they find something, they share it with others. So if you know somebody and you call yourself a leader, and this is a episode that resonated with you, share this with whoever you know that needs this, because ultimately we can only do so much by ourselves, but when we work together, we are stronger together. So we appreciate you coming on with us, checking it out, and we will catch you on the next episode.